Okay, good afternoon. This is Lynx. This is an interesting subject and one that I find fascinating, and this is the idea of affirmations. Affirmations are very big, and sometimes people find that they work, and sometimes people find that they don't work. So this video is actually about what causes affirmations to fail. Affirmations, also known as autosuggestions, are statements that you'll say to yourself over and over again to reprogram the way that you think. So for example, the big ones are money, health, and love. So sometimes people will tell themselves over and over again, I am abundant, or abundance flows freely. Love flows freely into my life. My body is healthy. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. I am secure. And they say these things over and over and over again. And like I said, sometimes they work, and sometimes people find that they're not getting the results that they want. And this actually came up the other day with someone I was talking to through email. And I thought, this is something that people are dealing with all the time, especially as they go to see psychics. And those of you who are psychics, there's a lot of people that use these. And people who just want to change their life. Again, I said it's auto-suggestion. It's also known as auto-suggestion. People like Napoleon Hill wrote about it in Think and Grow Rich, and it's basically a hypnotic. It's a hypnotic, sort of a hypnotic approach. So why does it fail on some occasions? Why do people find their affirmations not hitting home or not creating the changes that they want? Well, there's a few reasons. There's quite a few reasons. First of all, I'm going to speak from a mind perspective and a hypnosis perspective. When you're using an affirmation, you're using what we call a top-down method. So you're actually trying to get from the neocortex or the critical mind, and you're trying to get it by repetition down into the subconscious, which can work. But one of the reasons that it may find a challenge is that, let's say that you're putting the new program in, there's another program already running in your subconscious that eats it. So there may be something that's programmed, that you've programmed into your mind early in your life, or just for a lot of habit, that supersedes it. So it's almost like a virus, and then you put the new program in, and then it eats it, and it never has a chance to even work. That can happen for a lot of reasons. Like I said, you can build a habit that's so ingrained that it's actually in your body, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then your whole being rejects it. Also, there's another situation where you may find it being limited in, you're actually finding yourself in so much chaos or so much evidence to the contrary that reality is bigger than the little tiny affirmation that you're putting in. So for example, if you're living in a situation, if you're trying to say, find love, or you're trying to find a wealth and abundance, and you're living in a situation where everyone around you is telling you that's not the case, they're putting their constant repetition into your brain too, and that's going into your subconscious as well. So in that case, it may be a case of their reality is stronger than yours, because there's so much of it and it's coming at you from all different ways. Also, if you're in a situation where you're constantly having evidence to the contrary every day, and you spend like maybe 10 minutes doing the affirmation, and then the rest of the day all this other stuff is reinforcing the opposite from what you want to create, then that's going to create the truth. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm saying that in a way that's practical and simple. So it's not that this technique can't work, it can, but in certain situations that you may find yourself in an environment where there's so much evidence to the contrary that the tiny little affirmation can't get a hold. It buries it before it ever gets out. There's another one that I've noticed that's really big, and that is actions do not line up with the affirmation that you're trying to say. So for example, the big one, I see this all the time with people. They'll say, I am abundant, or I have abundance, and then the first opportunity they have to demonstrate that with their actions, they go against it. So let's say that they want to take on some new training and learn something, and they're sitting there with their affirmations going, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant. And then there's an opportunity for them to learn a new thing that they could actually use later to help add to their profits or their abundance, and they go, oh God, that's too expensive, I can't afford it. And then they don't take it, but then they'll go, make sure the cable bill is paid. So the actions and the words don't line up, and the body, the actions, and your actions are just as much the affirmation as your mind. So if you're walking around saying, oh, well, I want to get new information, I want to learn something, I want to find out something about myself, and there's an expert that you could go to that could help you, for example, and you're like, oh no, I don't want to pay that, I'll do it all myself. You're saying there's not enough. Because when you're saying I want to be abundant, what you're actually saying is I want to be able to give someone else who needs what they need too. And if you're just taking, and you're not giving back, that's not abundance. So you'll see that all the time in the with artists. They'll produce something, people will grab it, take it for themselves, and then the poor artist is struggling. So and there's information out there. There's people offer information all the time, and do you just take it? Or do you help that person out as well? Or you want to take a class, you want to do this, you want to get that, and it gives you information that can empower you, greater empowering towards what you say you want, which is abundance. Because if you're saying you want abundance, it's not about paying the cable bill, and it's not about making sure that you get to try that new restaurant that everyone's talking about on the Food Network. This is about, you're saying, hey, I want to be abundant, which means that your actions have to change to line up to that too. Okay? And a lot of times the stuff that people think is wealth and prosperity and abundance is kind of off. So you're putting that affirmation in, but it's not lining up with the other stuff. The other one is self-centeredness. So you think that it's all supposed to come to you and that you don't have to meet it, or that everything flowing to you and you having a big hoard of stuff to sit on serves the good of all. That's not really how it is. If you're asking for abundance, if you're asking for love, if you're asking for health, you should be investing in those things all over your life so that integration can happen, and then these things can start to blossom. Trying to take too much on in an affirmation is another way. So I want this, 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 and you're trying to feed it all in, and your subconscious is going, wait, what? And it's not, keep it simple. If you're going to do this, keep it simple. I personally think the more powerful way is to do it from the subconscious up, but that involves things like hypnosis. So it's not that this method can't work. Repetition can work, but be aware at the same time that you are also being bombarded with repetition from everyone else and everything else that you see. You are seeing memes all day long. You are seeing the news. You are seeing television. If you think just because you have the television off that you're not getting bombarded with repetition, you are. Everyone's attitudes, everything is going in there. So you could have way too much weighing on you, and that simple affirmation isn't getting through. I put my cards down to create notes. Action. Are you willing to take action to back it up? And are you willing to make the changes necessary and let go of the things that are keeping you stuck? That's another reason. Sometimes people don't realize that you have to consciously put yourself in a state of change to allow the affirmation to happen. And when this stuff comes along, that they're like, oh God, that's going to be uncomfortable, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to keep saying my affirmations. And then in some cases I watch two people lie to themselves. They'll say, oh look, I've got all that, and it's like, no, you're just telling yourself you do. The opportunity came, you didn't grab it because you thought there wouldn't be enough, and then the opportunity went and you're still where you were. And what usually happens is something comes back around to force them to face that later. So these are some of the reasons that I've witnessed and observed with people working with affirmations, why the affirmation fails, why the affirmation doesn't work, or why people find a challenge. Remember, your actions and your words have to line up. And I said I'd say something about the body too. There are certain things that happen in your body. Your body has memories too. Your body has an intelligence too. And sometimes things will happen in a situation and your body will supersede everything. So you're in a situation where you say, love is in my life every day, but then someone gets close and you're like, eh. And the affirmation can't work. If you're walking around saying, I want love and abundance in my life in one moment, and then on the next moment you're posting on social media or you're telling everyone how much you hate people and want to be alone, that's things not lining up. And your body will know in that case too. I want to be I want to be loved, I want to be popular, I want to be this, I want to be that, and then you get in a situation and your body's going, that's telling your subconscious something too. So if you're in a situation where you have to let go of something to allow greater abundance to happen and your body stiffens, your subconscious knows it, because they're connected. So if you're telling yourself that you want to be healthy, but you're sitting at a desk, 60 hours a week, and the body is just stacked, the body knows it. So you can be saying that all you want, but the body's having its own. There's also something that can happen in the body as well. Sometimes things like medications and things that placed in the body act on the body in a way that'll allow it to have another reality from the tiny little thing that you're. So it's almost like, so you're putting this medication or whatever it is in your body, and it's telling otherwise. Now I maybe I should just keep my mouth shut on this one, but I will say there are folks who will do drugs to open up their reality so that they become more. And then you watch them say, well, I'm going to be more open, watch them be more loving. And then you watch as they continue to do the drug, how they become more paranoid. Well, the body and the affirmation are not lining up there. And the body's saying, hey, this is not right. This is not what I want. And they're not lining up. So those are some of the reasons, again, why affirmations fail. And there's only so much, and I'd like to say this because I've been thinking about this for a while. There's only so much I can do in these videos for people. This is only a small amount of what I do with people who are in private consultations. A lot of what I do, a lot of what I've learned, a lot of my techniques, I can't show people in videos because they've taken years of training to get to. So, sometimes think about this. If you really want to learn how to do this stuff, sometimes you have to invest. And over the years, I've invested in lots of training, in lots of areas to learn lots of things so that I could be able to come together and be able to do these things. Because I figure the more that I'm able to do, the more that when I see something happen in the cards and someone says, well, what do I do about that? The more tools I have to draw from to say, well, why don't you try this and see what happens? So there's only so much in these things that I can do to people, and a lot of what I know how to do happens, like, for example, because someone asked me about, I've been posting things about the Tibetan dice, and I've been doing daily throws with the Tibetan dice, and someone asked me, can you show me how to do this? And it was like, it actually took a couple of years to be able to figure out all of the different pieces of that particular training that allowed me to be able to do that. So those are things that I do in consultation with people, but I don't necessarily show people how to do. So I just wanted to get out there. I am Lucky Links. As always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. If you would like to schedule a reading with me, or if you would like to take one of my virtual classes, I have a virtual class in tarot. I have a virtual class in playing cards. I have a virtual class in crystal ball scrying. And I also have a virtual class in how to read the Mexican Loteria. And these, I just love these. I just love the Mexican Loteria. It's very straightforward. It's very no nonsense, and also very deep in what it can come up with. I think that's all of them. I think that's all the ones I have. If you'd like to take a course, or if you'd like to get a reading from me, 779-302-8009, or you can email me at conjurehope@gmail.com. And if you like these videos and you want to see them coming, and you would like to donate, I will have my PayPal and my Venmo below. Thank you to everyone who has generously donated. There have been some incredibly generous donations to people who have gotten something out of this and said, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I very much appreciate that. It helps keep this going. And so, if you're going to do those affirmations, make sure that you cover your bases and make sure that you're getting the most out of them.